So, welcome back to the Rod Shop channel here at Saxy Rod Shop. So today we had a customer call us, said I've got an AC leak or need to charge the AC system. I don't know what's happened, but he tried doing it himself, the do-it-yourselfer, and it's already leaked it out. So it's an older build. Most of this was all done shade tree mechanic, I'm guessing, maybe, or just homegrown. But one of the things that we found is put the gauges on it. It had no pressure, so I put a little bit of Freon in it. It was going to leak detect it. All the fittings seemed to be fine until I got over into the front of the car. And let me turn this light on here just to give you a little help here. And lo and behold, this thing has one of the major no-nos. It's got several things going on here. It's got an electric fan out in front of the radiator. Well, we don't like doing that because running down the highway, this creates a blockage of air. When you're running, you know, anything over about 30 miles an hour, you don't really even need a fan because you're forcing air through the radiator for the most part, enough to keep it cool if you've got the correct cooling capacity. But what they've done here is they mounted the AC condenser, and then they were having whatever problems, either clearance problems here or they were having some heating problems. So they just took the quick and easy way out, and they used these little push-through plastic pins with these clips, and it's over time. And you can see this is where our leak is, and there may actually be another one, but this one's large enough. Not only can you see it with a bubble, soapy water, that you can hear it. So it's just finally rubbed a hole through one of these AC condenser tubes. So we're going to drain the system out. I'm going to cut all this loose. Now what we're going to have to do, it's not simple as just putting a new condenser on it. We're going to do that using his existing mounts, but we also now have to come in, and to do the job correctly, we're going to fabricate some mounts to hold this fan that won't touch and rub the condenser, space it correctly, and keep what he's got going on here, just because it's all pre-wired and everything's done like that. So what we've done is we've got us a new vintage air condenser, replacing the one that's on it. Now we're one of Vintage Air's stocking dealers, so if you ever need any Vintage Air components or any of those things, or give us a call if you're having some problems, we'd love to sell you the parts. But we have this condenser. It's a exact copy of what's on it, so we'll be going back on with this, fixing the problem there, and hopefully getting this car back out on the road. It's already like 4 o'clock today, so we'll have this car back on the road by the end of the day tomorrow. But we got to disassemble all that stuff first, get this in it, and I'm going to go ahead and also, one of the things that's kind of recommended by Vintage Air and just in general is anytime you've had the system open, it's a good idea to go ahead and replace the dryer. The dryers are technically just a one-time use item, so we'll get it on there, get that taken off. We'll put a fresh dryer on it. Go ahead and replace all these O-rings while we have it apart, and I'll probably go ahead and check all the other O-rings. But as you can tell, this is an older build. It's lasted him a long time, but it's just because it works doesn't mean it's always right. And we're going to take the time and fix it right, fix what he has as right as we can, and build the brackets, like I said, so that this isn't going to rub through the new condenser. So we'll bring you along on this journey. Okay, so here we are pulling the condenser off. We had to pull the radiator loose. This one just had a couple of bolts in the upper mounts. But one of the things you're going to want to do is always protect the backside of your radiator before you just push it back. So I just used the cardboard off the condenser. Now, getting to these little fittings right here, we'll get this light where you can see what's going on. These little fittings on the condenser here, we're going to have to take it loose. So Vintage Air offers, and we sell them, these little double-ended wrenches. They have so between the two sets here, this would give you all the sizes you need for Vintage Air fittings. Now, in some cases, we've had to come in and cut them down and modify them. So we do that often, custom homemade wrenches. But so that's what we're going to use to pull the condenser fittings off, and then I'm going to try to just pull it out through here. If not, we actually got to physically take the radiator out. I'm just trying to keep from having to do that. And another reason that we're having to do it this way is this number 8 hard line goes through this little cavity right here, and the nut. So this inner fender panel here and the core support are actually two separate pieces, and the truck's all put together. So that fitting on this side will not fit through there unless we pull all that apart. So we're trying to do it this way just to service it, get it back on the road. Typically we would probably here in-house build this to where this area would have been a little bit more serviceable, or we would have routed these lines in a different manner to where if you ever had to service this at a later date, you wouldn't have to pull so much apart. That's kind of what we look at when we're doing stuff here at the shop, Saxy Rod Shop, is try to build everything that we can as serviceable as possible, because 9 times out of 10 we end up getting the car back to work on it. Okay, so the way this thing's built, this looks like it's probably an old Vintage Air kit, maybe, is the condenser bracket is this one big long piece bracket. You can see part of the dryer here. It's all one piece, goes up, bolts to the condenser up here, but it's all one piece, goes top to bottom. So the condenser assembly won't come out this way until we get this unbolted. So we're going to try to unbolt that while it's in the car. Again, pull the radiator out on this particular setup with just this homemade engine install, so like that could end up being a all-day job in itself. So we're going to prop this old condenser up, get it out, and then we're going to assess maybe modifying this some to where it can be done after the condenser goes back in. Okay, so what we have here, as you can see, we got the new condenser out. I just clamped this up in place to help hold it. I'm going to slide the old condenser, we got it out. I'm going to slide the new condenser down in there after I get the other bracket put on the new condenser. Now, something that you need to be aware of on these condensers when you buy these, they have these caps on them with a rubber seal in them, and these are actually charged with some nitrogen, so that when you get your condenser and you go to open it up, when you go to take these caps off, I've already done it on this one, I just remembered I should point this out, but when you take this cap off, as you're opening it up, you will hear it hiss, and that's releasing the pressure. If you do not hear it release any pressure when you take the cap off, then you have a leak somewhere in your condenser. It's either happened in shipping, or it was a faulty product. But they do charge these with nitrogen, and that's to help keep them clean and dry on the inside also, and that's also a form of a leak check before you install it. So we're going to get the old bracket mounted on this end. We'll slide it in place. We have to install that other bracket with it back in here. We're just going to go ahead and put it back together like it was, and then when it comes time to mount the fan, I will actually build some brackets off of the condenser to hold that. And actually, I may go ahead and do that now, is build the mounting brackets for the fan and get that done first. That's probably the best way to do that. And then it'll just bolt on after it's back in the car. So let's do that right quick. We're going to actually build some brackets. So this morning we're getting ready to put the new condenser in with the fan, and we ran out of battery towards the end of the day, so just going to give you a quick update on how I made these brackets and designed them. So what I did is I took a piece of masking paper like we use in the body shop, and I cut it to fit the face of the condenser, and I located the mounting holes that I wanted to use to locate the condenser, and I did that on top and bottom. Let's turn this over. So we did that, and then here on this lower one I located that. I took my fan and I set it on the condenser, and I centered it top to bottom, right to left, and then by doing that I was able to sketch out a little bracket that came from the mounting point, lower mounting points with my holes located, up to where I wanted the fan to mount. And I just made myself a little template, drew that off, glued it to some cardboard, transferred that to steel, and made 4 of those. And by doing that, we were able to come up with the brackets here. And I've got those pre-mounted just because of how this, when it's physically on the truck, you can't get to the lower ones. So I went ahead and pre-mounted those. We're getting ready to stick the condenser back down in there and start putting this all back together. We will also have to go ahead and install a hardline fittings first before we get it permanently mounted. So here we are getting ready to start putting these hard lines back on. One of the things that we see a lot of times when we get in jobs for servicing an AC system is we run into a lot of pinched O-rings, or the fittings were what I call galded together from just lack of lubrication. So make it a habit. You want to liberally, trying to do this one-handed here. So you want to put plenty of oil, refrigerant oil, on that O-ring, rub it around on there. But you also want to go ahead and put some oil on the threads. That way when you're spinning the nut down on there, you're making sure that the threads are lubricated with an actual lubricant that won't affect the function of the AC. And then here, you do want to make sure that that is seated squarely and all the way in. And then if it's done correctly, you should be able to, pretty much run that up by hand until it gets snug. And when you're tightening up the fittings, it needs to be tight enough to compress the O-ring, not tight enough to crush it. So remember that. And that's one of the reasons we use these short, that Vintage Air came up with these little short wrenches. You'll see there it's got the, well, turn it over. It's got the little VA, Vintage Air, laser cut into them. And like I said earlier, these each end is a different size, and there's 2 different sets of wrenches, so you have 4 different sizes, and all that works for the AC. But by having that shorter wrench, you won't be over tightening the fittings. So we're going to snug this up a little bit here. We're going to get all this back in here. Remember, we had to leave the one bracket down in there just because we're trying to not pull the radiator out. And then we will slide our condenser down in there, and I may have to get somebody to help hold it while I get a couple of the bolts started to hold it. Then we'll get that in there, get the new dryer in place. Again, we got a new dryer here from Vintage Air, and this system has a binary switch in it. So the old dryer, what did I do with it? So we will be taking the switch out, and it'll be going into the new one. And you can see here, sometimes when you take your fittings off, your old O-ring will stay in there. It'll get stuck in there, and it may be even deeper down in there. And if you don't pay attention to get that out, when you go to put the new one in, you'll have a double O-ring, and that's going to actually create a leak. But these dryers are technically considered a one-time use item. It's full of desiccate. It's designed just to pull the moisture out of the system after it's been open for a while. So just as precautionary, we're going to go ahead and put a new one on it, and we'll get to that point here in just a second. Okay, now something else in regards to the dryer. There is definitely a in and an out, or a flow, directional flow of the dryer. So when you're adding your binary or trinary switch, you want to make sure that you put it on the correct side. These dryers have an option of putting it on either side here. There was a plug on this side also. So in this case, you can see here the arrow. So the Freon is flowing this way through the dryer, or needs to flow that way through the dryer. And so in looking at the old dryer, they had this mounted such, so when this is actually mounted on the car and in there, this will be connected to our hard line in such a manner like this. So you just want to make sure that you get everything going the correct way, or the dryer will no longer be doing its purpose if it's installed backwards, and you will not have the efficiency that you're looking for out of your system. And that's in regards to any AC system. So as I was saying earlier about the condenser being nitrogen charged or pre-charged with some nitrogen to keep it dry and clean on the inside, but also to allow you to tell if it's been has a leak. The dryers are the same way. So this one I have not taken apart yet, so let's see if we can get this to come off here. Let's see if we can hear it on these. No, this one, maybe this one already has been done. Oh, it did, because we put the switch in it. But yes, it did hiss on us on that. So releasing the pressure. So they will also be nitrogen charged on those. We're going to go ahead and pull these off, or this one off. Put a little oil on our threads. This is going to go down in here. We'll get it mounted to our hard line and in place, and then we will tighten everything up. So that's kind of what we're getting ready to do. You can see right there. We'll go ahead and put the O-ring on there, oil everything up, get that tight, get our lower fitting tight, and then we'll clamp the finish the clamp of the dryer in place. Okay, so as you can see here, we have the condenser mounted, all the connections tightened back up, new dryer in place, fan is mounted, we've got it topped back off with the antifreeze. So one of the things I did is I cut a piece of cardboard to go here on the back side to keep from dinging the core up while we were moving the radiator around. So just from personal experience, don't forget to take this back off. It happens. They don't run cool. So anyway, we're going to do that. Then we're going to fire it up. and just verify that there's no leaks in the coolant system, and then we'll get the vacuum pump going on here and pull this thing down in a vacuum and get the AC charged and get it out of here. So we've got it running, topped off, looked everything over. I haven't noticed any visible water leaks from having the hose loose or on the radiator drain. Got the fan wired back up. This is not your typical or your normal way of doing this. Normally we would not put an electric fan on the front side of the radiator as a pusher. I'm not sure why that was done. It looks like there was probably plenty of room on the back side for that particular fan or that size fan. But at low speed, at highway speeds, this can create a slight blockage, creating some heating issues around town at low speeds. This is not too bad, but normally we would like to have it on the back side of the radiator as a puller, so that all the air can come through this as easy as possible. So I'm just letting it run, come up to temperature, see if it's going to burp any air out, and then we'll top it off again if it does that. And I also have the vacuum pump pulling down. This is just an old school setup on this particular truck I'm doing. We do have a machine that we use also, but you can see here it's pulling the vacuum pretty tight, which before it never really got that tight. So we'll pull it down for another 20 minutes till lunchtime, and then I usually shut the gauges off on the vacuum pump and let them sit through the lunch hour and see if they move. If they move any at all during the lunch hour, losing some vacuum, then I'll start looking for a small minute leak or something like that. If it holds a vacuum, I'll turn the pump back on for another hour or so, let it really boil any moisture out as much as we can, and then I'll get the scales out and we'll charge this system. Most of these 134A systems, or all of them, really need to be charged by the weight and not just the old school method of till it feels cold or something like that, which some people do. And we try not to ever use any blend systems. We do stick with traditional 134 refrigerant. So anyway, we'll check this out and be back with you here in a second. We went and test drove it. I've already got some of this stuff put back together because I wanted to go test drive it with everything in its natural environment to verify that it's going to still run cool, the AC is going to cool, and all that. But as you saw in some of the little videos, side videos I took through the time lapse, we ended up with a hole in the condenser, and we have that apart. We can show you that right here, right now. So, where is it? Yeah, there's one right over here, and then the other one was, where did it go? Right here. So this, where it's compressed and mashed, the push-through plastic mounting clip had been rubbing on that for a long time. You can see here where the back side of the motor had been rubbing, and then right over here it was about to start leaking. So there's 3 potential leaks, but 1 definite leak. So we ended up putting a new condenser on it. I also showed you how we made a little template, paper template, converted that into like a piece of cardboard, transferred that to some steel, made our brackets, got the condenser or the fan mounted to the condenser, and then we put it all back in here, put a new dryer on it, connected all the hard lines back up with fresh O-rings. I talked about the fact that when you're messing with a condenser or a dryer or an AC compressor, the suppliers, Vintage Air specifically, and most others, they charge those components with some nitrogen. And that's to keep the system clean internally, but also to be a first step of verification against it being bad. So if when you take the caps off, it doesn't hiss at you, release the pressure. If it doesn't do that, then you need to stop right there, figure out a way to check that component individually, and verify that it does not have a pinhole or a crack or something like that in it. If it makes that noise when you take it apart, then you can continue on and you'll have a better feeling of the fact that it's a good system. So anyway, we got all that done, put the gauges on it, pulled a vacuum on it for a couple of hours in the morning. I usually let it set, shut the pump off and the compressor and the gauges off while we go to lunch, and let it hold for an hour under a vacuum. If it holds under an hour for a vacuum, I'll pull a little bit longer vacuum on it. I'm just kind of old school. It was a older system. It's been open. We don't know how many times it's been opened and closed by other people. So I like to pull a fairly long vacuum. It helps boil any moisture. We did put a fresh dryer on it, so that should accumulate a lot of that initially anyway. Got the gauges on it. Put in our 1 pound 12 ounces of Freon. This is an older vintage air system, but even those can that's the recommended weight. We charge the system by weight, not the old school sight glass on the dryer method or 2 cans. You can't do that on these systems and for them to work correctly. So got all that done, and then we put it all back together. Like I said, I wanted to make sure that everything that goes on it, to verify the airflow and all that against the condenser, to make sure it's going to work good and cold. Got that done. Engine temperature ran fine. Just drove around what we call around the block. It's a section line here, and everything works. So cleaned up our mess, called the customer, told him it's ready. He will be here tomorrow morning to pick it up, and we're good to go. So that all being said and done, I would like to thank y'all for joining us, supporting our channel. If you haven't, if it's your first time here, this is Saxy Rod Shop, the Rod Shop channel. Subscribe, hit that bell, and so you'll get the next notification. And again, thank y'all for supporting us, and have a good weekend. Thank you.